Cross your fingers if you're watching us. This is take two. All right, we are live. Welcome to SipTalk, episode 281. My name is Justin DiGiulio, joined by James, the Boswell, philosopher, philanderer, philanthropist, philatelist, phlebotomist, flamingo enthusiast, a man of many PHs, full of phlegm. How's it hanging down there in sunny South Carolina, James?
It's not that sunny out anymore. Yo, the whole sunsetting early sucks.
Yeah, it's funny because I've been against lately, the idea of getting rid of daylight savings, but it feels like it gets dark early enough. So
Well, it would actually be getting rid of standard time.
we'd be getting rid of standard time.
Yeah.
All right, I can't. Listen. So
Standard time is when the sun sets earlier. Daylight
so
savings time is when it goes later.
the thing that I started doing this week was I dropped caffeine from my diet entirely.
So
Notice
it's not nutrient.
my caffeine intake was very, very high. So starting Tuesday this week, I stopped caffeine, kind of cold turkey. Not kind of, I just stopped. Didn't have any caffeine that day. The next day, or today, I'm telling you, I'm exhausted. I can't believe that maybe it's just been caffeine that's just kind of had me running at the speeds and brain wavelengths that I do. I don't know, but I've got no energy. It's not nice. I don't know why anybody would not have caffeine. It seems like a really nice thing to have that I'm missing out on. So I'm gonna have a drink. What are you drinking down there in not so sunny South Carolina?
I got myself a PBR and a store-bought Paloma.
Oh, nice in a can.
No, in a bottle.
All right. Well, a couple of things. I want to thank Rash Galeb, who is behind the scenes with us today. He's feeding us your comments from Instagram. If you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, we can see your comments real time. Also, want to give a shout out to Burl Liquors. This is a bottle of Dewar's Japanese Smooth Mizunara oak cask. It's a nice.
The Dewar's white label that have the specialty finishes are pretty good. Like their Caribbean cask is really nice too.
Yeah, you got a Caribbean cask, and I think they have a rum cask, maybe something a little sweeter. Well, that's a Caribbean one. So
Yeah.
there's something else. I don't know what it is, but they're all pretty good. Today we got a double header for you. We got two topics. We'll see how deep into each of them we get, but we have turning your hobby into a career. Is it feasible? Can it be done? What happens when you do it? Do you want to do it? And then we have common manners. I think I've been pissed off enough with with people lately. So I'm just going to, as a public service announcement, remind people of some common courtesies. So James, I'm going to let you lead with the turning your career into a hobby, or turning your hobby into
Yeah,
a career
so
here.
the reason why I thought of this one was playing in Pool League last week.
And
There
pool is your hobby.
Pool is my hobby, and I've gotten to
Okay.
be okay at it. But there's a player in League that's very, very good, and I played against him after League in a couple matches. And one thing he was telling me is that when you get to a certain level of skill in Pool, you're going to run out of people that you can play against who aren't interested in playing for money. That at a certain point, you have to start playing for money whether you want to or not.
So basically, if you're really good at pool, you only play for money. That was his stance.
Yeah, and so in order for me to play against him, I had to gamble, which I wasn't thrilled about, but like he's he's a completely reasonable guy. And like he wasn't trying to hustle me, which means like disguising how good you are at the game to make money off of somebody.
That is the hustle. Yeah,
But
misleading people as to how badly you'll kick their ass.
right. And and so I ended up losing $60 to him over 5 games. I went 1-4. Um
It's not so bad. I mean,
but
this guy can't be making that much money playing pool
I
unless he is
looked at it
hustling.
more like lessons because I was able to learn a lot in that hour and a half or 2 hours that I played. But it got me thinking about how, like, I really like playing pool and I enjoy it just for itself. And as somebody who has turned a hobby into a career at one point in his life, it made me think about it brought back
Which
my
which
experience with, well, refereeing.
which was soccer refereeing.
Yeah. Um, but it made me think about how, like, I enjoy playing pool, and if I started doing it to try and make money, whether or not I would still like it, and then it made me think about, like, the other time that I tried to do that in my life. And
And
so
so let's lead with that. What's Well, first off, what are some type of hobbies that you can turn into careers? Because you can't turn every hobby. I'd love to have a drink and sit at the bar. Right? That doesn't really translate well into a career.
I mean, it kind of does if you want to be a bartender, but it's not the same.
Oh no, I've thought about bartending many a time. That takes entirely the fun out of shooting the shit and doing nothing and just having a drink.
Yeah, because
And
very
also, you don't
rarely
get to
do you
really
have
have the
times
drink.
as a bartender where you can just shoot the shit with people. Most of the time, you're busy handling one thing or another, and the conversations that you're going to have with somebody are going to be 30 seconds at the most before you have to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
The whole stereotype of like the bartender being able to have like a 20-minute conversation with somebody at the bar, in reality, that's quite rare.
Well, I mean, if you go to a bar at 11 o'clock in the morning, maybe.
Yeah, but you know what? Even at 11 o'clock in the morning,
No, they've got bar
like,
prep and things to do. Yeah.
right, they've got all sorts of side work that they were expecting to be able to do, and being able to hold the conversation while having, like, all their other tasks is not easy.
So
But
what are some, let's give me some more careers that could
so you
be.
see this
Yep.
most often in, like, creative fields, so, like, music, art, writing.
And how well does that work out for most wannabe musicians?
Well, there's the phrase "starving artist," and it got its genesis for a reason.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
But you also see this in athletics where, and I remember when I was a substitute teacher, I had a number of students that were not doing great in school. And we'd ask them like, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And they're like, well, I'm just going to be a professional basketball player, a professional football player, or whatever. And like, I don't have to worry about school. And I'd have to give them the reality check of like, you might be a pretty good player on your middle school team right now, but let me give you the statistics in terms of like how many players from high school go on to play college, and then how many players that of that small amount, it's like 1 to 2% of high schoolers go on to play college, and then like less than 1% of high school of college players will go on to play pro, and then like less than 10% of those players are going to make real money, because there's tons of players that make it to pro from college that are making $5 to $20,000 a year playing professionally.
yeah, I mean, professional doesn't necessarily mean that's your full-time solo source of income, and that's at the pro level.
Yeah, because
You
like
know?
when I worked for the professional soccer team in Charleston, almost all the players on the team had some other job, because it was Division 3 in the United States, and there just wasn't the revenue to pay these players. They probably made somewhere between like $10,000 and $30,000 a year.
Okay, so say you are successful in turning your hobby into some type of revenue stream.
Well, at first I
You're
would just say
lucky.
like the thought that leads to this is I like doing this thing. I've been able to occasionally make some money from it. If I were to put more time and effort into it, I could make more money from it. So why not leave the job that I don't like to do the thing that I do like and make money from doing that, right?
Mhm,
It's a pretty natural idea to have.
of course.
Um like the other area that I would actually say like this happens is like people that like to work on cars. Like,
Yeah, but that's also disappearing because somebody who likes to work on a car, like, that's not something that's so easy anymore to have that job, you know? Like, that's changing quite a bit. If you like to work on a car from 2015 or 2012 or 2018, the new vehicles are not very mechanic friendly at all.
oh, and it's
It's
getting
much
worse every year.
it's much more technical. So, like, if you don't understand maths and physics and electricity, it's going to become a lot more difficult to work on vehicles. It's not going to be the handyman grab some wrenches and some grease and things like that. It's becoming a much more scientific job now.
Yeah. But yeah, so when you actually try and start to take your hobby into a career, let's talk about what actually happens.
Well, this
Or
that,
what's your question before we get there?
I I don't have a question. I'm just thinking. When you I mean, I think you and I are on the same side of this argument. Is that it's very difficult to find a profitable venture that you enjoy doing. Once something becomes your sole source of income, it becomes your job.
Yeah. And that's the first thing I say is like what actually happens? Well, what was once fun is now a job.
Yeah, and you have to schedule it, and you have to commit to doing it on a regular basis. And you're no longer doing it as your passion and something to relieve yourself of the, I don't know, the difficulty and stress of life. It now becomes something that is a stressor on you.
Yeah. And I think back to like when I was refereeing professionally, like I remember there was one weekend where the Thursday night before that weekend, I was playing volleyball, and I hurt my ankle pretty bad in volleyball. And I had games on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, and
And, like,
refereeing is intense running up and down the field.
my record for a 90-minute match is over 8 miles of running,
Yeah, that's pretty
which,
wild.
when you break it down to a per mile pace, isn't spectacular, but it's still, like, you're running a lot as a referee. And, like, Thursday night,
You're more running more than many of the players if you're
you
staying with the
actually,
ball.
yes, that's true. The referee oftentimes covers more distance on the field than any individual player does.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
so
so I could barely walk on Friday. Like, I had to drive home, and it was really hard for me to press the clutch down with my injured foot. But I had to go out there on Saturday and Sunday and referee in tremendous pain, because if I called up the assigner and said, "Hey, I'm injured, I can't do these games," like, first of all, that's money that I was counting on, and second of all, the assigner's going to be mad at me and say, all right, now I have to scramble and fill these games in with somebody last minute. That's
and
a pain in the ass for me.
you become less dependable.
You're less reliable and you get
Yeah.
less games in the future. So I suffered through that weekend and, like, experienced like 4 or 5 different types and levels of pain over the course of the games that I did. But
Yeah.
I had to go out there and do it because I didn't have any other choice. And
But
so,
it makes it less fun. You lose the joy in this hobby.
yeah, and it's also like, when it comes to, like, me playing pool, is I can practice whenever I want, and if I don't practice, nothing happens. Like, the worst is that I lose my next match in league, which there's no money in that. That the league is just for fun and pride. I like winning, but at the end of the day, a loss doesn't mean anything for me.
Well, I think what you hit on a second ago, though, about income and it not being stable, and a lot of hobbies don't translate into a regular paycheck. You were lucky to have had a hobby I don't know. I guess you got good enough at it that there was demand for your hobby. But some people have hobbies that they're just not that good at,
Well, I
and
also chose a hobby that naturally is income drawing. Is like, even at the lowest level, you're going to get paid as a referee. It's just as you get better at it, you get higher paying and more prestigious games. And so, like, there was always money in it, but the better you are and the more you work, the more you make. And so, yeah, like, it's like, if you're an artist and you're trying to monetize your skills, like, that means that you need to sell paintings, you need to sell manuscripts, you need to sell.
is it true that the cost of your art will increase after you die?
Well, yeah, but maybe if you're good enough,
This
but
is
also, like,
you
that's
don't
not a
want to
great
test that out.
business strategy.
Not a very good business strategy,
It
especially if your art isn't actually that good.
No, because honestly, if your plan is to make money by dying, you just buy life insurance, man.
It'd probably be better payoff than your art.
It sure
Uh,
would.
all right, what's next here? You got forced
Um,
association here.
but it's like talking about playing pool. So if I started to try and play pool for a living, now if I don't practice for a day, I'm falling behind. And, like, it no longer is like I go to the garage and I say, "Oh, I'll practice for 15 minutes. This is fun." It's no, I've got to go to the garage for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day and practice. And so it's no longer going to be fun. And I have to do it whether I'm feeling it or not. And it was the same thing with the refereeing with my injured ankle. I had to go out there whether I wanted to or not. I did a game in New York back when I was still in college when the temperature was 34 degrees, a 20-mile-an-hour wind, and downpour rain. It was so cold. I was so cold I couldn't turn the key to the door of my car.
Some people don't know, like, actually that feeling. I think you and I have been there
It took
a
me
number
3
of
minutes
times.
to blow on my hands to have enough strength to turn the ignition so I could get the engine going. And then, like, when I got back to campus, like, all my clothes were soaking wet. I walked through to my dorm room and wearing nothing but my boxers because all my clothes were, like, frozen solid cold. And I was like, I don't even care who sees me. Like, I'm just too cold to care. And so, like, is that a day that I enjoyed it? Hell no. Like, but I had to do it because it was money that I was depending on.
All right, talk to me about being forced to be associated with people who may not have your best interests at heart.
Well, if you're trying to grow your business, you need to have partnerships, you need to have promoters, need to have people that are already established in the industry to get you further along. And those people you might not always like.
No,
And
they may not also have your best interest in mind, like
right,
agents and
they
things
might
like
also be taking advantage of you. There's also a lot of possibility that they're gonna be, like, in some cases more than others, outright stealing from you. But I also think about my time in refereeing and how a big portion of the success that referees had was basically kissing up to the people that they knew could push them forward.
that.
And I didn't play that game very well, and perhaps I should have tried to do it better,
Yeah, I'm not
but
good with that
but
political
I
stuff.
also I was able to I knew about this from basically as soon as I decided to pursue it more seriously, and I saw I could go on and on about all the assignments that I saw where I was like, I know of 10 better referees than the person that they put on this game. Like, take me out of it. Like, I don't care if I got the assignment. I can name ten other people that should have gotten this game over the person that they gave it to, but the person that they gave it to is super chummy with the people that are making the assignments. And
Yeah.
so and I've seen that countless times where it is so much less how you do compared to who you know.
Well, yeah, and I think exactly. Skill sometimes does not trump connections. What do you have next year about value, intrinsic versus
Well,
extrinsic
this is
value?
going back to just like the whole what's once was fun becomes a job. Is like you used to do whatever it was because you enjoyed it for its own sake. You like painting, you like the act of creating a picture and putting paint to canvas. And if somebody else happened to want to buy that painting and you weren't attached to it, you're happy to take the money. But now you're doing everything for with a desire for a specific result. And you put this up there, and I'll paraphrase it, is like, but like once you start to realize that like people are buying something, you're going to start moving your art in that direction, and that
Mhm.
might be a direction that you didn't originally intend to do. You
Well,
might you
here's
kind of
what I drew that from is, ladies who wanna be influencers or have some social media kind of gig where they're posting regularly, and instead of being able to post, like, the cake that they baked, when they realized that they baked a cake and their tits were in the video or the picture, and that one got 1,000 more likes than just the cake, now the next one has to have them half naked in the picture, otherwise
yep.
nothing gets any likes.
Well,
And then it just becomes about their body or their body
yeah,
image or
and then
their
it
look.
becomes OnlyFans.
And then and then it can potentially, and it can be potentially go in that direction. But that's effectively the direction that it's heading in, and away from what it was they were passionate about to begin, whether it was cakes or design or clothes or something like that.
Yeah, no, there are some women influencers that are able to avoid the whole conflation with sex,
But
but
also being an influencer, I think a lot of people don't understand the amount of work that goes into it. It's a full-time job, the creating the content, the refining the content, the editing, the posting, like that's
well,
a full-time job.
and
And
I would
and
also say a willingness to debase yourself at times.
well, at times, and that's kind of what we're talking about, is that it can become it can become something that is the total opposite of what you went into it for. Your passion is completely stripped out of it, and you're doing things just for the likes, just for the audience, and you're not doing it for yourself.
Well, I also think about like there are a couple different YouTube channels that I watch, and some of them lean like pretty hard into like leftist and anti-capitalist ideas, and I like engaging with that because it gets me thinking about like alternatives to the way that we do things here. But all of those channels are people that basically are full-time YouTubers, so they have to do ad reads and stuff, and it's pretty funny when they're talking about like political philosophy that is anti-capitalist, and then like a minute later they do an ad read for some company that's sponsoring the video, and it was like there's a
Yeah,
dissonance here.
I get it. I get it.
But I also think about a conversation I had. One of my favorite bands is L1011, and it's a duo of a bassist and a drummer, and um, they're not a huge band, but they've got a really strong like following of dedicated fans. And I went out to see them in San Diego, and I was talking with their guitarist Christian Dunn at the end of the show, and I was like I know you guys aren't like super like commercially popular, but like you've got fans like me that are going to fly like 2,000 miles just to see the one show that you do in a year, and like and I was like, I just like what you guys do. It's different than everything else. And he's like, yeah, but different isn't always good because like you have to consider what's commercially viable. Because like I could do an entire album of me farting into a microphone, but it's not going to sell anything.
Yeah. Is that what you really want to do?
No,
Okay,
but
good. Good. Uh,
uh, but
all right.
the whole idea is like the implication there is like I feel like he was saying I'm not always able to make all the music that I really want to because I do have to sell albums to support my family.
Exactly. And but then also, and here's my comment. I don't know if there's something else that you want to hit on here, but that's also where burnout comes into play. Like you could be working a lot to support yourself. And here's the other thing is as you start making money with this, your lifestyle can expand, your bills can go up, you start spending money and then relying on this money that was once a hobby and it gets exhausting.
Well,
You
you've
can
got
really
people
get
that
burnt out.
get successful doing what they're doing, and eventually they need to start hiring people for marketing and accounting, and like they become a business in and of themselves. It's like imagine just like if you're an actor, right? Or a professional baseball player, like you need to have all these people to track all these things that you're doing.
Yeah,
And
so that you can focus on the actual one thing, the throwing
yeah.
of the
And
baseball,
and,
not
and so
the
that's
accounting, not the agency, not the travel plans, not the hotel accommodations, just the throwing of the baseball.
and any one of those people could steal from you. And I think about like Palahniuk, guy who wrote Fight Club, had like 20 something million stolen from him by one of his
Oh,
managers.
wow. Alright.
And like that's not an uncommon tale because and I'll tell you from the accounting world, whenever I did tax returns or business returns for artists, they were the least organized when it came to finances.
Mm.
And so like if I had an unethical bone in my body, I would try and get like an accounting job for a creative because they would never see the money going. They would never
Yeah,
know
well,
that
they
I
have
was
no
doing
idea, they'd have no idea. Um,
I'm not endorsing this, by the way. I'm not
what
saying you should do
what
this,
what what else do
but
we
I'm
have
saying
on this? Because I wanna hit the bar trivia from last week.
I mean, real quick, it was just like the question is, should you do it? And I would say you need to be realistic about it because, like, on the good days, you're gonna feel like you're getting paid to do what you already wanted to do, like you're
Yeah,
getting paid to have fun.
but those are the good days.
Those are the good days. On the bad day, you feel like you traded your love for the activity for money, and you aren't getting either of them.
Exactly. I mean, I would not advise it to everybody. I think, find a job that you're okay with. Uh, you know,
What I would say is, if you're thinking about doing it, find somebody
I
that's
was just going to
established
say that, yeah.
and ask them how they get started and how it's gone for them. And
But also, you'd be surprised. A lot of the people you see publicly doing these things may not be profitable. May not actually
well,
be
no,
living off
but
those things.
I also think about my brother the Derv was really into photography and like got a job with a photography studio in Charleston. And like what you think a photographer does versus what a photographer actually does are two completely different things.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody shits on photography these days. You can ask Rosh this because everybody has a phone in their pocket, thinking that they could do exactly the same thing, which they probably could if they devoted all that time and energy into it and didn't enjoy the events and then spent all the time editing
Yeah.
and like there's a lot more that goes on in the back end. Sure, you have the capabilities, but it's the time.
If they photographed a 6-hour wedding, they probably spent somewhere between 40 and 80 hours in the office editing.
Yeah, except when you shoot the 6-hour wedding and then the person's like, "Oh, I could have just done this with my iPhone." It's like,
Yeah,
no,
and
that's not.
people shit on your hobby all the time, like, photographers don't get the respect they deserve.
Yeah,
The good
exactly.
ones.
All right, so before we move into the second half of our double hitter here, I want to bring up last week's bar trivia question. I don't know if you remember this one. I think you remember the answer. Shadow squinted into the rising sun as the early morning light reflected on the freshly fallen snow. He headed due east, following the snowshoe tracks of Harry, the world famous photographer. Speaking of photography, suddenly, to Shadow's horror, he came upon the dead body of Harry. He had been shot and killed by an arrow that entered his back and pierced his heart. Shadow raced back to the chalet where his weekend companions were sitting down for breakfast. All three men were shocked when Shadow relayed the tragedy. Sam kept muttering that he just couldn't believe it. Sid said, it seemed just minutes ago, Harry told him he was going out to photograph various birds in their early morning habit. Buck, who was counting his arrows, turned ashen white when he noticed that one of them was missing. One of you is the killer, said Shadow. Who does he suspect and why? Did you remember deducing the answer here?
Yeah. We talked about it for about 10 minutes off air.
Okay. Do you remember the answer?
Yeah, it's the guy said that he was going out to take photos of birds because it doesn't make sense if he was facing the sun. Like, you don't photograph into the sun because everything's going to be backlit, and so
Yeah.
the fact that the
Sid,
guy was
Sid,
facing the
Sid
sun when he was
Sid
shot
said
doesn't
that
fit.
just yeah. Sid said minutes ago he told him that he was going out to photograph various birds in an early morning habit, but he wouldn't have been facing the rising sun because you wouldn't be able to see anything. You'd just be looking all at silhouettes. So
Especially in the snow.
yeah, it would be super bright. That was a good one. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think?
Eight
Seven,
and a
eight.
half.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8. I mean, I like the ones that have a little more of a twist to them, but that was a good one. If you stay tuned to the end of this podcast, we have another bar trivia question about trains. I don't know if you like trains.
Hey, we got Lisa in the chat.
Hi to Lisa. Hi to Lisa. All right, so let's hit some common courtesies, some common manners. I think I don't know. I just been. We're probably going to get to this one at some point, but elevators. So in New York City, you got a lot of people. I'm just always. I'm sorry, escalators. I'm always so surprised when I get on the escalator and the person in front of me just comes to a complete halt. And I'm just like, dude, they're just stairs. Like, let's go. Come on, I got somewhere to be. Like, I got work to go to. I got the next thing to go to. Like, or I'm trying to catch a train. And actually, yesterday morning, I was trying to get around this guy in the escalator. He was standing in the middle. He had headphones in. I was trying to say excuse me without shoving him out of my way. And the rule, by the way, if you don't know this, is when you get on an escalator, you stand to the right so people can walk past you on the left. Well, this guy was just in the middle, and then he got off, and I like tried to go around him, but he did this weird thing where like he went for one door, but then opened the other door. So I couldn't get around the guy. And then I heard the trains going beep beep beep, which means the doors are closing. And I like got passed through the doors, ran around this guy, and the doors closed like right in my face. And I looked at the guy and I said, "You gotta be fucking." I was a little rude, but I turned and the guy was like oblivious. He was just blocking the headphones in. I'm sure he didn't even hear me. I just said, "You gotta be fucking kidding me, man."
Yo, you see this in airports all the time too. It's like, I
Some
don't
people
care.
are in hurries. I know your
Yeah.
lazy ass just wants to stand on an escalator, but it's a moving staircase, and it's a moving staircase for a reason.
Yo, there's been times that there's stairs next to the escalator. I've just been like, fuck it, I'm taking the
Oh, I
stairs.
do that all the time. It's if there's no way to just walk up the escalator, I will walk up the stairs
Yeah,
because
and beat
because
everybody on the
yeah,
escalator.
because my walking upstairs pace is faster than standing on an escalator, faster than the escalator
Yeah.
pace. It just drives me in New York fucking city that people just step onto an escalator and come to a halt.
Well,
Or
I
people with
think again,
luggage,
that's
like
fine if you just stand to the right so people can get around you. Who cares?
people with luggage, you put the luggage in front of you or behind you and on the right. You
Yeah.
don't put it beside you and block the whole fucking thing. Oh, man, that pisses me off. All right,
All
so
right, let's go through this. Just
let's
let's
hit some.
race through this.
All right, number one, please and thank you.
Yep.
Number two, hold doors for the next person. That's when I'm going to slow us down in a little bit because I have noticed lately, not lately, I've known this for a while. Sometimes if I always like clock over my shoulder to see how far somebody is behind me, but if they're too far and I hold the door, then they feel compelled to run.
Well, so there's
Uh,
two ways to hold the door, by the way.
okay.
There's holding the door and letting the person walk past you, or just holding the door so the other person doesn't have to open the door for again.
Yeah, well, I think exactly. Yeah, I think it's more commonly nowadays to like just prop it open for the person behind you than actually do this kind of more chauvinistic, like my
Yeah, because
lady.
like, yeah, like I would say like holding the door so like a date can go past you is pretty conventional. But like I think in just every day, it's just you hold the door so that the other person doesn't have it slam in their face.
All
That's
right, next one. For Christ's sake, let people off of. So I take an elevator up and then an escalator down to the tracks every day, and almost inevitably at the elevator, when I get on, people alongside me waiting for the elevator are standing in front of the door. So then the doors open. Surprise! There's people on the elevator, and then they
yeah.
have to like get out of the way and do this awkward shuffle. And then we get up to the top, and there's people standing in front of. So just if you're waiting for a train or a bus or an elevator, allow people to get off. Assume there's people on there. Stand off to the side. Don't look. You're going to look like an idiot. I'll let you read the next couple of these.
All right, yeah. So cover your coughs and sneezes, wash your hands, basic hygiene, easy. This one's big for me. Use headphones. Don't put like no speakerphone in public.
Oh my
Like
god.
I don't want to listen to whatever you are listening to.
Oh
If
my
I
god.
did, I would be listening to it myself on
I mean,
my
this is
headphones.
common courtesy, like, we know this shit, but this morning I was waiting on that said elevator, and there was a guy just full blast volume, like, watching some fucking videos, and I had a headache because 'cause I'm not having caffeine, and I was just like, "You got come on, man. Come on. What the fuck?" We've brought up shopping cart theory. That says a lot
Yeah,
about you, returning your shopping cart. The thing about returning a shopping cart is you don't need to return a shopping cart because nobody's gonna hold you accountable, but it's the right thing to do. So the people that return their shopping cart are just better
it's
people.
just a basic measure of like, are you a good person or not? Is do you put the shopping cart where it's supposed to go?
Wiping down gym equipment after use.
Basic hygiene. Do
Yep.
it.
Common courtesy, especially if you're super sweaty. Tipping fairly.
Yo, the problem with tipping is that there are no rules about it. So depending, you have no idea how much what is a fair tip, because like again, if you're at a restaurant,
I'll tell you what's fair. Fair now is 20%.
yeah,
That's the
but like
rule. 18% is acceptable. 15% means you got bad service.
yeah, but hold on.
And less than that is you're ruining somebody's life because you're not
Okay,
allowing
but
them to support themselves.
so
That's the rules.
yeah, but
And if
like
you
what?
can't afford it, don't
There's a
go out to
big
eat.
difference between you're at a sit down restaurant and someone's bringing
Oh,
you
yeah, I know where you're going. Sorry, go
plate
ahead.
after plate versus you place an order for pickup and all they had to do was like box your order, bag your
Well,
order.
the argument is, yeah, the person that's helping everybody out and the host is the one that has to prepare the order. You should give them something for it. But I'll take it one further, going to the convenience store and they flip around that iPad and it asks for a tip.
Right, or like a food truck or something like
Like,
that. Like
there's a restaurant I go to, this Korean restaurant. It's actually really good. And there's just one cashier, and then there's a line of people, and the cashier has a tip thing on the iPad. And I'm just like, you're the cashier. Like, that's the job. And nobody's bringing the food to my table. This is like, this should all be built into the plate of food that I'm buying.
yeah,
I'm
but
the one that showed up here.
right,
You
so
know,
that's why I say, like, tipping fairly, it's hard to say what that is because, like, sure, sit down restaurant, 20% at the minimum, fine. Like, bartender, dollar per drink or 20%, okay, fine. But
delivery.
I don't know. I honestly
delivery,
have no idea.
delivery,
I don't order delivery.
delivery is a little tougher.
I have no idea what the appropriate amount
I
for
would say
delivery is.
never should you do less than $5.
I was gonna
You should,
say I always tip at least 5, but, like, I haven't had delivery, and I can't remember the last time I had food delivered to my house that I paid for.
and if there's a way that you can tip in cash, it's better. I'll let you hit the
Yeah.
next couple of these here.
Alright, RSVP promptly. Like, let people know whether or not you're gonna show up or not, and just, don't keep them hanging. Like, and
Mhm.
and if you don't know, if it's up in the air, then at least say, "Hey, I'm not sure. I have to check on a few things." Just respond, but that's just generally, like, good texting or, like, any etiquette is, like, if somebody asks you a question, get back to them in a reasonable amount of time.
And then the next one,
Yeah, be on time. If you say you're
it
gonna be somewhere,
I think it
show up
is
there. And what would you say the grace period is? Say you're going out on a date and you agree to meet up at 7. What's the grace period
I
before they're
I
actually
think
late?
it really depends. I think the communication leading up to being late also really matters. So if you say, "Hey, I'm stuck in traffic because there's an accident," and that's adding so far 5 minutes that like, but keep the person up to date. I teach a class every Thursday morning, and we almost always get started 10 minutes late. But the people that and then people just now they show up later for the grace period. And I'm pretty soon I'm just going to start locking the door because I think
Yeah.
it's very
Um,
disrespectful and very interruptive.
Lisa says 5 minutes for a stranger, 15 minutes for someone you know, 1 hour for a friend. I'll say I'm not waiting an hour for a friend. Like,
No, I know you. You wouldn't wait for an hour, right?
no, but like I think 5 minutes for a stranger is about right. Like, because I've had a while back, I was going to go out on a date and I was running a little bit late because I hit every single red light,
Mm.
like every single one. But I had time at one of the red lights to say, "Yo, I'm running a few minutes late. Hit every red light," and I was there within like 5 or 8 minutes. But I also kept them aware.
No, yeah, I just said communication is important. Next one.
Offer your seat to elderly, pregnant, or injured folks.
Yep. Yeah, you need to do that. You need to do that. That's the right thing to
Yeah.
do. Next up is help with strollers, doors, or luggage when is necessary. I try to do that as often as possible. It's just sometimes people get a little over their heads, when they've got kids or luggage or something like that. It's always nice to hold open a door or something like that. Um, don't block sidewalks, aisles, or doorways.
Yeah,
Come
never.
on, if you're visiting New York City and you got to stop in the sidewalk, step off to the side. Understand that people are commuting. People are at like full power walk speeds here. You gotta you're in people's ways, and you will get stepped on. You get knocked into, maybe knocked over. Um, you know, pay attention. Know
If
what's
you
happening around you. Self
Yeah.
awareness, for Christ's sake.
Like, if you're walking on the sidewalk and you need to stop for any reason, just, like, nestle up to the building.
Yeah, exactly. Or step in the way of like a phone booth or a mailbox or something else that's blocking the way that's
Yeah.
immovable. I'll let you hit the next couple.
Alright. Leash pets and pick up after them. Sure. Nobody wants like, unleashed pets are a terror, and nobody
Yeah,
likes stepping in dog crap.
exactly. You got to clean up after your animals.
Use turn signals every time. Talking to you BMW drivers. Zipper merge. Don't cut the line of cars. I will say, if you've got 2 lanes that merge into one, and one lane is super long and one lane is short, that's I think it's completely okay to take the shorter lane because you have to zipper merge. The whole point is that you should be picking the shorter lane so that the 2 lanes even out and the zipper merge works perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Don't be an asshole, but because then you're cutting people off. Next is don't double park or block driveways.
Looking at you, Harlem.
Yeah, double parking in Harlem is really really bad. Blocking driveways less so because New Yorkers will just call and get your car towed. Um,
Stand right, walk on left.
Escalators,
Yep.
uh,
Um,
keeping volume down in shared
we
spaces.
already talked about it.
Ask before bringing plus ones. That I think is it obviously depends on the event, but I would say that is important.
I would say that's unless it's someone that you're really familiar with that like say you've been in a long-term relationship and it's someone that you're really familiar with and it's just assumed that you and your significant other are going to be going together, then yeah, you always should ask like, "Hey, I'm going to be bringing another person with me."
The next one is one I'm really bad at: bringing the host a small gift.
It depends on this what if I'm just coming to hang out at your place like
Well, it depends. It does depend, and that's the thing is a lot of times I go to events at places that I just often kind of go and hang out at, so it seems silly, to class it up by bringing a gift, but it's the right thing to do. This should be in the much more obscure
I would say
courtesy,
like I mean the easy thing to do is just grab a six pack.
yeah, or even a $12 bottle of wine or something like that. Let's see. As a guest, offer to help clean up.
Yep.
Don't arrive too early. Um, Ask about allergens and diets before cooking for people. Yeah, I guess that's probably a really good idea.
Yeah,
Although
but
I think I'd say the onus is on the people with the allergens
yeah.
to bring it to your
No,
attention.
I don't think you should. The onus is not on the cook. The onus is on the guest in that case. Like, if you have some kind of allergen or whatever, you need to say, "Hey, like, can you make something that doesn't have, I don't know, gluten or whatever."
Sending quick.
That's the reason why I don't do like any pre-fee menus. Is because almost every pre-fee menu in Charleston has like seafood of some sort, and I'm not going to be the asshole and say, "Hey, can you make a pre-fee menu just for me because I won't eat half of these meals?"
Yeah. Um, let's see. What do you got? Quick thank you notes after whatever event you were invited to.
Yeah,
Uh,
especially like a date. It's always good to like just say like, "Hey, hope you got home safe," something like that.
on planes, keeping seats upright during meals. I never really thought about that. I mean, that makes sense. I think that's you don't want to be on top of the person behind you, and then also reclining slowly, but also returning your seat back to upright position slowly. Because if somebody's
Yo,
got a drink or something behind you, it's just going to bounce all over the place.
here's a controversial take. Airplane seats should not have a recline option.
I mean, they don't recline much, anyways.
No, but
So,
so like you get a modicum of improvement in comfort to annoy the person that's sitting behind you. I just say eliminate it. Just get rid of seats reclining entirely. It
I
solves
think
more problems than it
if
creates.
they just took 2 rows out of every airplane, everything would be better.
Oh, you know how much more that would cost the airlines?
The
I'm not talking about retrofitting the planes. Like, ignore that cost.
No, no, yeah, just the lost revenue and things like
Yeah,
that, you mean? Yeah. It is wild to me how airlines get by on just, like, are just n what a bullshit, industry. That's all.
well,
That's
no,
all I have
it's
to
like,
say.
but what I'm saying is that airlines operate on ridiculously slim margins.
No,
And
it's just
saying
like,
like,
yeah, we switched from peanuts to pretzels so we could save, $80 million this year,
no,
and,
it's
and then the price of fuel went up, 11 cents, and we lost
a
800
billion.
million. Like, just it's just like, what?
Right. So that's why I'm saying, like, the idea of them taking seats out of airplanes, as much as I would love that, like, I can understand financially why they don't. But removing the reclining option, that's a win-win, man.
Alright, hit the next couple of them here.
Um, Use the over and bin above your own seat. Sometimes you can't.
Oh, yeah. It's wild to me, though, how people just, like, also take up extra space. Like, you should use the one above you and then under the seat in front of you first, before you start using other people's.
Yeah.
Um
Also, when it when it comes to deplaning, like, be ready and just like I see so many people that, like, when it comes their row's turn to like stand and get up,
It's
they
like a
act like,
5-minute ordeal, yeah.
yeah, and I'm just like, dude, how is it so hard for you to do? Like, all you should have your bag already packed. You should have it on one shoulder, and then you get into the aisle, you put it on the other shoulder, and then in one move you can reach up and grab your bag. Like,
Yeah, I'm always calculating that in advance of it being my turn. Like, how smoothly and quickly can I do this?
yeah,
Even with a child, in tow. Armrest etiquette. I never knew that the middle person gets both, but I guess,
yeah. No, that's
I mean,
absolutely right.
that makes sense. Um, let's see.
There's
Step
an
aside.
entire Jim Jeffries stand-up routine on the whole concept of middle seat gets both armrests.
I mean, it would make sense. I'm just pretty wide, so I tend to like overlap on
Step
both
aside to
seats.
take calls. Don't block traffic. Well, that's just going back to the don't block sidewalks. If you have to take a
Yeah.
call, get out of the way.
Try not to film or photograph people without consent. I think that
Yeah,
makes
that's just
sense.
rude. Don't do that.
Yeah. Strong scents, perfume and cologne in shared areas, bad idea. Um,
Also, strong sense of your own perfume or cologne. Shower before you leave the house, people.
oh my God, in New York City, there are some. Luckily, it's cooling off, so people's body odor is not as bad. But I will tell you, as once the late springtime or once we start getting a couple of those warm days, people reek, man. People reek. You like, I don't know, and I know a lot of it's cultural, but like it is very off-putting, nauseating. It's not good. Um, Replace toilet paper roll. I think that's a good one. If you're the last one to use something, you should replace it. Or if you're not the person who's responsible for replacing it or don't have the resources, let the person know. There's been times when we've run out of things like toner or ink or not toner or paper or something in my office. Um, and like nobody told me. And then now it's going to be a delay and everything is shut down until the new one comes in. Or I have to spend double or triple going to like a Staples or Office Depot and buying something at retail versus getting the deal I normally get online. Kind of pisses me off. Um, Rinse the sink or shower when you're done. I think that makes sense, especially if you're shaving.
But I was
Especially,
just in the shower, was being rinsed.
you were the one being rinsed. No, especially if you're shaving or something, or if you're in somebody else's home. Return borrowed items on time and at least in the same and, if possible, better condition. So, like if you're borrowing tools or something, make sure they're clean.
If you're borrowing a car, the minimum is the same level of gas that you got it in,
Yeah, and
preferably at least a quarter tank higher.
um, all right, what else we have? Pronounce names correctly. I ask if you're not certain. I one time gave somebody the sarcastic advice, and it was like a really long, super syllabic name. And I was like, oh, just give it your best shot. And then he did. And I was like, dude, I was joking. Like, you had completely slaughtered the name. I said that jokingly as like kind of off the cuff. Like, I never would have expected you to totally slaughter this guy's name. Um, all right, what else? What else we have here?
Use people's preferred pronouns.
to the best of your ability.
I've got a friend who is trans that I still occasionally misgender, and it's just because I knew them as a man for 35 years of my life, and it's that's a habit that takes a really long time to break. But like you're not going to find trans people getting mad at you for misgendering them accidentally. It's when you do it
Well, I mean,
intentionally.
you may, but
Yeah, but those are the people that that they're just looking for a reason to be mad. Any reasonable person, if you make the mistake, be like, "Yo, it's actually he instead of she," and as long as you don't say, "Okay, what do you want, ma'am," and like be a dick about it, then you're not going to have any problems. These people are understanding.
next I got introduce people with context. I think that's here's the thing. It's just when you're like, oh, here's John. Like, all right, a little context would be good. I oftentimes the last couple of weeks I've had people come running into my office with the phone in the hand, just like shoving it in my face. Including one on Tuesday or Wednesday this week, where the person came in with the phone, and then I like tried to get them to talk to me, like, "Yo, what's up?" And they just put it in my face, and I was like, hello, and they're like, "Hi there." I was like, "Oh, this is Justin. I don't know if I'm calling you or you calling me. So and so just ran into my office with the phone in his hand in the air and put it on my desk. So I need a little. I don't know what this is about." Uh, and it was the most awkward, uncomfortable thing. But I also like shouted out the person that did it as like, dude, what the hell? Like, I don't know that what's going on in your little world outside of my purview here. Um, Next up, don't interrupt, let others finish. Uh, I'm bad at that, but I always circle back and allow people to finish and try very hard to sit in silence while they finish. But interrupting is bad. Sharing the mic. I think I do this pretty good in groups. When somebody feels like, especially if somebody else is being interrupted, I'll like return the platform and spotlight to them.
Yeah, and also it's just good conversational etiquette where if you've got a group of 5 or 6 people and you realize that like one person isn't really participating very much, try and bring them in. And then like if they show that they're not really interested in participating, then that's a choice that they've made instead of them being excluded either passively or actively.
What's next? Sharing the mic.
Give credit publicly, give feedback privately. That's basic management technique is don't
Mhm.
like praise publicly, criticize privately because you don't want to humiliate somebody. It makes everybody lose respect for you in a management role.
Yeah. Next up is acknowledging service workers. I think oftentimes it's very easy. Somebody who's like sweeping or cleaning something up or whatever the service is that isn't, you're not directly interacting with them, to just overlook them as like part of the scenery. But they're a whole person. They're working hard. They're doing their job. Treat them like real people. We've all been there at some point in time. So remember they're real people. Hold the elevator if somebody is clearly coming. I think that's a really big one.
I
Well,
really liked somebody took stickers and like the doors open, doors closed. They put the thumbs up and thumbs down for the on the elevator buttons.
oh, oh, that's good. That's better than the greater and less than symbols. I'll give you one though. I oftentimes hold the door in the morning. I take the elevator every day, many elevators, many times a day actually. When I see somebody coming, I'll hold it for them. There's one elevator that I take to get on a train first thing in the morning, and there's a long hallway leading up to it with two big glass doors and then a long sidewalk leading up to those glass doors. So if I see somebody kind of coming through the glass doors, I always stick my hand in the elevator. Most of them like pick up their step a little bit. And on occasion, somebody just like glances up, realizes that I'm holding it, does not, they're walking turtle pace slow, does not increase their pace, and then looks back down at
And
their
that's when you
phone.
just go,
And then I
you've
go,
been voted off the
I
island.
just, and usually everybody else in the elevator with me is like, but that was me
Well,
nodding for those of you listening and
well,
not watching us.
basically, I combine that with a basic principle of mine, which is if somebody is doing a favor for you, don't make it more difficult for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think about a girl I was dating a while back, and she asked me to drive her to the airport at some ungodly hour, like 4:30 or 5 in the morning, right? And I did, but I show up and I say, let's say it was 4:30 that she needed to be picked up. I show up at 4:30. she doesn't walk out until 4:45. You want to know how pissed I was?
Yeah, that's something that really enrages me is when people ask you to show up and then make you wait even longer. It's like, no, I'm the one that went out of my way to help you out. You need to now go out of your way and inconvenience yourself a little bit to, I mean, if she was really racing to get ready, that's one thing, but I'm sure she was probably taking her time. All right, what else we got? Don't
Don't cut lines.
if you
England would like to have a word.
if you bump into somebody, apologize. Uh, if
Yep.
you have kids, keep them from disrupting others. A lot of people just let their kids frantically run around.
You know what? Just don't take your kids out in public.
Yeah, keep them hidden.
Yeah.
Uh, keep group text tidy. So basically, if you're in a big group chat and you're having kind of one-on-one conversation, take that outside of the chat. Nobody needs your 45 messages about whatever's going on.
The best thing to do there is just type unsubscribe.
Yeah, well, I mean, to send the message.
Yeah.
Um, leave spaces as you found them are better. Okay, whatever. If plans change, notify people right away. Don't ghost. Yeah, I mean that's a big
basic.
one. Uh, when in doubt, be generous with patience, praise, benefit of the doubt. That's one I think that is uh, people oftentimes don't do that. I had to explain to somebody, I think it was yesterday. I was like, look, you judge yourself based off your intent, but you judge others based off their action. You got to have some grace and like give people a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I know that's what happened, but understand that you're now telling me a side of the story that they were not privy to at all. All of this happened outside of said location. They would have no way to know all this information you're bringing to my attention.
Two things. Lisa says that she hates group texts. And let me ask you this question. When was the last time you heard anybody say, I wanted to like so and so, but they were just too nice?
I've heard that before.
How often do you hear it?
Oh, not very often though.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you have to err on the side of being too nice or being an asshole, one of them is going to get you a lot further than the other.
Well, yeah. Although I would say that sometimes being too nice comes off as disingenuous, and
Well,
that
yeah,
means too
but
nice.
like that's don't be fake. But
Okay, now we're transitioning into the kind of the lesser known common courtesies or lesser known courtesies. So we'll call them courtesies, not common courtesies. Although some of these I think are pretty should be well known. I'll let you lead with this one, and then I'll disagree with it.
um I don't agree with it either though. Like ask, do
Mhm.
you have a minute before launching into something? No,
Yeah,
like
I mean, I teach
go ahead.
sales. I teach sales. You lead with just real quick. Don't lead with. Do you have a second?
No, no, no. You don't lead with anything. You just say, you just go into whatever rant you're about to. Like, yeah, man, just let it
I,
rip.
I'll give you the next one here. Put your phone face down in conversations. I mean, having your phone in your hand when you're having a conversation is one thing. Having it face up on the table is another thing. But if you really want to show somebody that you're present, take your phone off the table and put it in your pocket.
I think having your phone on the table but face down is completely acceptable.
I agree. I agree. But one step further is take it off the table, put it in your pocket. Um,
And if like you feel it buzz or something because something like you're waiting on like a message for something, whatever it is, like say, hey, I'm sorry, but like, do you mind if I check my phone real quick, and then make it quick.
Yeah. Next is offer the last slice to other people before taking it or the last of anything. Uh,
General rule: whoever bought the pizza has dibs on the last slice.
also, general rule never take the last of anything. So you would only do that if you were like starving or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, send calendar invites after scheduling things. I'm big on this. Every time I book a meeting with somebody, I send a calendar invite. Not so much in my personal life, but definitely in business. I think it's a little much in personal life, but I don't know. Some people might need it. Step outside to blow your nose if possible. Um,
That's There's so many circumstances where that isn't the case.
I mean, I have allergies, so there's some times where I'm blowing my nose like every 3 minutes. So,
I'm
um,
thinking about sneezing more than blowing your nose, but like,
no, no, yeah. Well, but if you can step out to sneeze, even better.
yeah, but like sometimes you got like a 2-second warning.
All right, I'll let you hit the next one. Next couple of them.
Offer water, coffee to contractors or delivery folks. It's just these people are doing something for you. Like, show some appreciation.
Yeah, did I tell you I had my driveway sealed a couple weeks
Yep.
ago?
Yeah.
And I asked the guy if he wanted anything. He said, "I'd really love a water." So I brought him a water. He didn't drink it. And the thing is, I had completely forgotten about it until like 10 o'clock at night. I happened to just walk outside to like just look at it, and it was on the driveway. It's completely undrinking. I was like, dude, now I have to like go all the way around that because you can't walk across the driveway after it's been freaking sealed. So I had to walk all the way around the house to go get this thing.
Next one's outdated.
Okay.
Give directions and landmarks, not just street names. First of all, sometimes giving directions by street names, like people have
Who's
different
giving
ways of.
directions these days anyway?
Well, but first of all, like people have different senses of direction. Some people work off landmarks. Some people work off of like mathematical like street names or something like
Yeah, a
that.
mile this way,
But
2 miles that
also,
way.
like, yeah, now everybody has the Jeeps, so like you just give it like a street address and that's all that they need. And if they ask for directions after that, you say, first of all, why don't you have a Jeeps? And second of all, here's how you get there.
All right. Walk guests to the door when they leave.
That's a great way to get people out.
It's time for you to go. Let me escort you. Let's see. Let people know your name again if they look blank. I oftentimes remind people my name just a couple of times. Not a bad idea. Share umbrellas when you walk with somebody in the rain, which is really difficult to do, but like just do
You
your
need
best.
a big enough umbrella.
It also usually means that you're the person getting more wet, but
Yeah, but like
yeah.
most umbrellas are like one person sized, unless you've got like a golf umbrella.
Yeah, well, shame on you. In group photos, offer to take the picture so everyone's in it. And then you don't have to be in
That's
it.
a great way to not be in the group photo, which
If you borrow a car, return more gas or at least the same amount. Let's see. If you're playing music in shared spaces,
like if you're having a
intentionally,
party or something.
intentionally ask guests for volume feedback.
We could think of one person in particular in both of our lives that doesn't.
Keep a small stash of chargers for guests. I think that's important. That you like. I mean, we always have people over, and almost every time people come to the house, they're like, "Do you have chargers?" I'm like, "Dude, look around first. They're everywhere. There are chargers everywhere. Half the surfaces are like charging surfaces around here." Let's see.
We got 2 minutes, so let's get through like 5
Oh,
more.
actually, we got to pause. I got to hit you with this week's bar trivia question.
All right, well, we'll just call it for tonight.
All right. 2 train tracks run parallel to each other, except for a short distance where they meet and become one track. And this happens over a narrow bridge. So 2 train tracks running parallel, except they converge into one track for a short, narrow bridge. One morning, a train speeds onto the bridge. Another train coming from the opposite direction also speeds onto that bridge. Neither train can stop on the short bridge, yet there is no collision. How is this possible? 2 train tracks run parallel to each other, except for a short distance where they meet and become one track over a narrow bridge. One morning, a train speeds onto the bridge. Another train coming from the opposite direction also speeds onto the bridge. Neither train can stop on the short bridge, yet there is no collision. How is this possible?
I've got an obvious answer.
You can tell me off air, but this is a dumb one with a dumb answer. So visit SipTalkPodcast.com. Share the answer, SipTalkPodcast.com. We look forward to seeing you there. While you're at SipTalkPodcast.com, don't forget to buy us a drink or buy some bar merch. We got some nice T-shirts, pint glasses. I don't know. We got some other. We got dog T-shirt on there, towel. We don't have a shot glass. I'm working on getting a shot glass on there. All right. I think we're out of time. So, Justin DiGiulio for James Boswell and Rosh Galeb saying adios. All right, let me bring us off air here.